If you watched our other videos on Ontraport forms, you already know your way around them pretty well. So in this video, we're going to go a little deeper, and I'm going to show you all of the form settings and advanced features in Ontraport forms that can help you make a more seamless experience for your customers. Let's go. First, let's look at where to find form settings. Depending on which form builder you're using, you're going to find the form settings in different places. Now, if you're using forms on Ontraport pages, click on the Submit button on your form. You'll see the form settings on the left-hand side at the bottom of the element palette. If you're using Ontraport forms, you'll need to find the Smart Form settings on the left-hand side beneath the Form and Submit button elements. The form settings for legacy forms are in the top right of your screen. They're between the Design tab and the Publish button. Now let's get into the nitty-gritty details of form settings, starting with opt-in settings. Now I'm going to jump around a bit while I show you the next few settings. Starting with double opt-in required. Your contacts will get a confirmation email from you with this setting. They cannot receive marketing emails from you until they click the confirmation link in the email that they receive. So if you use this setting, interested leads will not be able to hear from you unless they confirm their opt-in by clicking that link. So we suggest using this only in high-risk industries or if you have experienced issues with spam submissions in the past. For more information about high-risk industries and email delivery, take a look at our legal page. With the single opt-in setting, your contact is opted in and can get marketing emails from your Ontraport account immediately, without any additional confirmation. This is the default option for most accounts, and this setting is just fine for most people. With the double opt-in optional setting, your contacts will get a confirmation email asking them if they for sure want to hear from you. But they can still receive marketing emails from you in the meantime. This is a nice compromise between the more strict double opt-in required setting and the looser single opt-in setting. If you're worried about the quality of your list but don't want to exclude potential leads, this is a good in-between choice. The Send Contacts Here setting controls where a contact goes after they click on the Submit button on your form. The button submits the information to Ontraport and takes the contact to one of the following 4 locations. The first is the default thank you page. This will send your contacts to an Ontraport default thank you page, which can be good for testing forms to make sure it's working, but beyond that, it's not really useful for any customer-facing funnels. And it's an Ontraport branded page that doesn't reference your business at all. The Use This landing page setting sends your contacts to a thank you page that you've created, while the Pop Ontraport Form Lightbox setting is a great option if you want to show a pop-up after someone fills out your form. And lastly, we have the Custom URL setting. You can use this whenever you want to send someone to a URL that isn't an Ontraport hosted page. Note that if you're using either of the double opt-in settings, there's a Send Contacts Who Are Already Opted In to a Different Page setting. This will send contacts who already confirmed their opt-in in the past to a different thank you page when they submit your form this time. Basically, you can skip sending people you already know to the opt-in confirmation page. If you use either of the double opt-in settings, you'll need to choose a confirmation email to send to contacts. Select the email from the drop-down menu under the double opt-in optional or double opt-in required settings. Now let's move on to conditional redirects. Conditional redirects let you send leads and customers to different landing pages and custom URLs. These are different from the Send Contacts Here setting we talked about before because conditional redirects are based on the information that a person is providing you on your form. That means you send your contacts to pages that are most relevant to them. We have a whole separate video on how to use this feature to increase your conversion rates. Below this is the Manage Form Fills section, and this section lets you add contacts to automations you've already created. Contacts who submit your form are added to the automation through the default trigger on your automation map. This happens whenever contacts successfully submit your form, so it's important to set up your automation and configure this trigger correctly if you're going to use it. Take a look at our video series on automations for more details about automation triggers. But most users prefer to keep their automations in the automation maps and add contacts with triggers rather than adding them here on their forms. So normally, you want to leave the setting blank. Next, we have notification and routing. When someone fills out your form, you might want to send a notification to a specific person, like a team member. To send a quick email to someone with the info that a visitor asked for in your form, add a notification email address here. Next, choose who the default owner of new contacts will be. Assigning different contact owners means you can send automated emails that look like they're from the contact owner. So for example, this can be really useful if you want emails to go to particular contacts from their sales rep. Or maybe you want to use the owner field to limit which contacts an Ontraport user can see. You can then set up permissions to let users see only the contacts they actually own. To spread out new leads amongst several contact owners, you can use a lead router, which we're going to talk about more in the Ontraport for Sales course. Next up, let's talk about our advanced settings. Each setting in the advanced section addresses unique situations that can come up with forms. Most of the time, though, you don't need to worry about these, but we're going to go ahead and go through each of them anyway. The override email address merge with cookie data feature helps in certain situations to merge contact records when the same person fills out the form twice. We have a whole video on merging contacts that explains when this is useful, which honestly is not very often, and you're going to want to leave this unchecked in most cases. The pass CGI variables to the landing/thank you page setting puts form data into the URL of your thank you page. So let's say your form collects someone's email address and first name and sends them to a page hosted at yoursite.com/thankyou. If you check this box, it will send them to a link that looks more like this. Ontraport and other systems can then use that information in the URL for various tricks, such as merging the information onto a page like this. Okay, moving on. If you check the box saying redirect after immediate campaign and sequence steps run, your contacts will be taken to the thank you page after any initial automation elements are done running. This will work for automations that are added up here in the form settings. This can be useful if your thank you page relies on updates to the contact record through automations. So let's say you have conditional blocks on the thank you page that rely on an automation updating the contact record after they've submitted your form. You have to wait for those automations to run before landing them on the thank you page. This will slow down your visitor's browsing experience, so don't turn it on unless you really need to. If your form is an order form, you have some additional options here. One is send Google e-commerce tracking parameters to landing/thank you page. If you're using Google e-commerce tracking, you must check this box every time. This will put the order information in the URL of the thank you page so Google can see and track it for you. Another is if charge is successful, then use this card for all transactions and collections. If you want your contacts to update their credit card information for outstanding transactions, check this box. It will update the card on file and charge all outstanding transactions to that card. And we have, if charge is successful, also update all open orders with this card. Let's say your contacts are on a subscription or payment plan. This setting ensures that the credit card you just entered will also be used for subscriptions in the future. Finally, let's go over the hidden fields. And these are pretty cool because they let you put fields on your form that people can't actually see. And people tend to use this feature for two major reasons. One is to capture data from the URL that your contacts did not submit themselves. This is great for capturing marketing and other sort of custom tracking information. And two, to set up multi-step forms and merge data together without making contacts repeat themselves. We talk about this more in our multi-step forms video. All right, that's literally everything you need to know about forms in Ontraport. Thank you for sticking with me, but if you've made it this far, you're ready to move on. And next, we're actually going to start talking about pages in Ontraport, which is a really nice complementary feature to forms. So check it out in our Pages video series.